Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight on our news.
The National Honors Chairman responds to backlash over that society's decision.
The Deputy Prime Minister responds to comments made by the President of the Bahamas Christian Council.
Pastor Dave Burrows says marijuana possession should be a misdemeanor offense. That story is coming up.
Our news is brought to you by Alive.
Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. I'm Christina Dragovich. Topping news tonight, more than 6 months after being appointed acting Chief Justice, Senior Justice Stephen Isaacs has been appointed Chief Justice of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas with effect from July 9th. The Cabinet Office made the announcement today via a statement, noting that the appointment was made by the Prime Minister in consultation with the Leader of the Opposition. Isaacs was appointed acting Chief Justice in December 2017, replacing former Chief Justice Sir Hartman Longley. This comes after months of speculation and calls from members of the judiciary, the Bahamas Bar Association, and the opposition Progressive Liberal Party for the Prime Minister to appoint a substantive Chief Justice. Over the past 6 months, Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis has deflected and avoided questions from the media regarding the appointment of a substantive Chief Justice. Well, Anglerston Member of Parliament Glenys Hannah Martin causing quite the stir today, taking to social media to blast the selection of Sir Roland Simonet as a national hero. Hannah Martin dissected the decision to bestow the title upon the country's first premier, saying he should be recognized, but not with the highest honor. Kyle Joaquin tells us more.
National heroes' work must be seminal, groundbreaking, advancing the cause of our people. And personally, I do not see that as having been the role played by Sir Roland Simonet.
He's forever etched in Bahamian history. Sir Roland T. Simonet led the United Bahamian Party and was a part of the group better known as the Bay Street Boys that was a major financier in tourism and investment in the Bahamas. But it's the role he played in the development of the Bahamas that has some, like Anglerston MP Glenys Hannah Martin, raising an eyebrow at the decision to list him as a national hero.
He led a regime that actually mobilized, led to the formation of the PLP, and also led to the entire political struggle that led to January 10th, 1967. It was to resist the cause or the regime that Sir Roland Simonet led.
On her Facebook page, Hannah Martin said, "I do not accept that a man who led a racist regime whose deliberate policies obstructed the national human development and progress of the masses of Bahamian people can ever be deemed a national hero. The decision is perverse and highly offensive."
And I was very disappointed to see that. And personally, I see it as an attempt to rewrite history and to revise history. And I think we must resist that at all costs. As I've indicated, it's not personal.
One person wrote, "Exactly, because he was a part of the secessionist Abaco independence movement." Another wrote, "Sir Roland Simonet is well-deserving as a national hero." Then there were some like this person who said, "Whoever put that program together did not experience the suffering under the UBP government, the discrimination, the dehumanization, the racism. There were places we could not have gone in our country." Hannah Martin also sought to clarify her use of the word racist in her post.
I say racist to this extent that when you have the masses, the overwhelming majority of your people who are of a particular racial grouping, who have limited opportunities by virtue of your political policies and your initiatives, then to that extent, it is racial.
The Order of National Hero, the most senior order in the Bahamas, sees the member of the order bestowed with the Right Excellent before their name. They include the Right Excellent Sir Lyndon O'Pinling, the Right Excellent Sir Roland Simonet, the Right Excellent Sir Milo Butler, and the Right Excellent Sir Cecil Wallace Whitfield. Sir Roland's son, Brent Simonet, currently serves as a Member of Parliament and Cabinet Minister. When asked for comment today, he declined, saying he won't stoop that low. For our news, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
Well, both the Free National Movement and National Honors Chairman are defending the committee's choice to choose Sir Roland Simonet for the title of National Hero. Both Mark Humes and Carl Culmer say it's time for the Progressive Liberal Party to stop playing the race card. Gillian Gray has that story.
The backlash following the announcement of the National Honors honorees is not sitting well with Chairman Mark Humes. The opposition has slammed the National Honors Committee for choosing Sir Rowland Simonette as member of the Order of National Hero. Hume suggested that race is being injected into the National Honors debate for political reasons.
There are personal judgments that people make, whether it's fair or not fair is pretty subjective. But, we need to look at a lot of issues and put them into context. We just came out of celebrating our 45th year. And I think this is a serious conversation that we do need to have, not just race. I think in many issues we like to place everything in a racial context because it serves our interests.
It is rumored that the committee considered removing Sir Rowland from the list. However, Humes did not confirm or deny that statement, only saying the deliberations of the committee are private. He said the committee made its decision based on the National Honors Act, which states that the national hero should be someone who has altered the course of history.
It's about what is written in the law, what the act says. And if they can say that in any way that this individual does not line up with what the act says, then we may have a case.
FNM Chairman Carl Culmer also defended Sir Rowland as a good choice and insisted even the UBP played a role in nation building.
Sir Rowland has done much for this country, and many Bahamians, if you go and talk over the hill, you go and talk in the Family Islands, you will find that he has done much for a lot of Bahamians. So for them to continue to say Sir Rowland is a racist is nonsense.
Culmer slammed the opposition, saying the PLP should stop playing the race card.
It's by time we get beyond the white and black issue. The generation today don't see black and white. They see Bahamians, and we need to get at that level. And I see it as a divisive tool that the PLP continue to do.
Sir Lyndon Pinling, Sir Milo Butler, and Sir Cecil Wallace Whitfield were also awarded the honor posthumously. Reporting for our News, I'm Gillian Gray.
Premature is how Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance Peter Turnquest is describing comments by Bahamas Christian Council President Delton Fernander. During the independence celebrations on Tuesday night, Fernander slammed what he called economic slavery. Jasmine Brown reports.
The Deputy Prime Minister says Fernander's comments were hasty, especially considering the fact that the government plans on meeting with the Christian Council to explain their position.
It's unfortunate if in the context of the discussion. We in fact have a meeting set up with the Christian Council to go through the budget, and I believe either tomorrow or certainly, if not tomorrow, early next week, to go through the budget and why we are where we are in respect to the discussions. And so I think his comments may have been a bit premature in that regard, because he may not necessarily have the full view of what we're faced with.
Turnquest, who made the comments on the sidelines of the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce Power Breakfast, was responding to Fernander's charge to the country during independence celebrations on Clifford Park. The BCC president urged the government to focus more on innovation and not taxation, adding slavery, segregation, and colonial rule have reappeared under new labels. Fernander also claimed economic slavery was widening the gap between the haves and the have-nots. Turnquest was not amused.
There is a number of benefits in this budget for the lower income community. When you look at the exemptions that are on the breadbasket items alone, it represents a 7.5% reduction in the cost of those items across the board.
Fernander's charge came amid widespread opposition to the government's increase in value-added tax from 7.5% to 12%. While Turnquest stopped short of hitting out at Fernander, he did say that he did not think an independence celebration was the right place for the Christian Council president to make such statements.
That's the venue that he chose. I think that, as I say to some of the groups that I'm involved in, independence is a very special time in this country where we celebrate what's good about this country and about the advancements that we've made that we should be rightfully proud of. It's not the day for negative talk.
Turnquest also responded to Fernander's views about the country's use of the Westminster system and how it played a role in the firing of Baines and Grantstown MP Travis Robinson and Golden Isles MP Vaughn Miller as parliamentary secretaries after they voted against the VAT amendment bill.
we talk about this Westminster system as if it is some big animal out there that is disadvantaging people, but that's not in fact the case. Most countries around the world have a Westminster quote-unquote system, and it works effectively, and some would say it works better than some of the republics that we have around the world.
Now, Turnquest says he is still hopeful that the meeting with the Bahamas Christian Council will go well, and that once the government makes its case, they will better understand the decision to increase VAT by 60%. The increase is expected to bring in an additional $400 million in revenue. Reporting for our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Well, recently appointed Minister of Agriculture Michael Pintard says the focus is on growing food, not marijuana. Meanwhile, a local pastor known for overcoming a troubled past calls for marijuana possession to be treated as a misdemeanor offense. Jared Higgs reports.
The additional arguments that have been raised with respect to medical marijuana, in my view, sucks up a lot of the oxygen we should be applying to these other areas that we need to focus on, and that's where my focus is.
Pintard says the marijuana debate steals a shine from what he describes as more important issues. When asked whether Bahamian farmers would be better off if they were able to grow marijuana, Pintard said this.
I'm saying that we are focused on food security. Secondly, we are focused on non-food items that we have the capacity to produce.
Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis, upon his return from the CARICOM Heads of Government meeting in Jamaica, hinted at support for medical marijuana. However, he added that he would not force his views on Bahamians and would host a series of educational town hall meetings. CARICOM has recommended that member states end marijuana prohibition. Former Governor General Sir Arthur Folkes and former Prime Minister Perry Christie have both thrown their support behind legalizing medical cannabis. Pastor Dave Burrows of Bahamas Faith Ministries also supports medical marijuana. While he says he doesn't support full-on decriminalization, he believes possession should warrant reduced consequences.
The penalties today may be too severe. So, for example, I remember when I was growing up, there are people who went to jail for 9 months for a half bag of weed or a joint. I think that's too harsh. And so what I favor is some type of penalty, like a misdemeanor penalty, like a traffic ticket, something like that, where you pay a fine, but you don't have a criminal record for life and so on.
Now, not far from Bahamas Faith Ministries, you'll find one of several Rastafari camps here in the capital. Now, those Rastafari leaders say they want to be able to smoke marijuana for spiritual purposes. Pastor Dave Burrows says that decision is going to be up to them and the government.
From a Rastafarian perspective, they may have determined in their mind, okay, this is something that's necessary for our religion, this is what we believe in. But the problem is when it conflicts with the national interest. And so I think, that's something that they have to figure out.
The results of a public domain poll conducted in early June revealed that 71% of Bahamians support medical marijuana legalization. Reporting for our News, I'm Jared Higgs.
In other news, Pine Ridge MP Frederick McAlpine got his first warning in Parliament this morning after House Speaker Halson Moultrie determined the MP was being disruptive. McAlpine questioned why the opposition wasn't given its time to lead the session in the House of Assembly when an argument broke out.
No discourtesy to anyone. And Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members. Honourable member for Pine Ridge. You are being disruptive of the proceedings. I am putting you on notice to discontinue that behavior. The Honourable Member for Carmichael has the floor.
The back and forth went on for quite a few minutes, with opposition leader Philip Davis stepping in.
But it's now been raised to you, and it's not opposition day. Right? It's a question day, where you could ask your own members to ask you questions, to clarify things that's out there in the public. Yes, the member for the answer appreciates what I'm saying. That's why you did not join them.
We told the Bahamian people that we would do better, and that it's the people's time, and we would govern in accountability and transparency.
Honourable member, I have taken your point. Thank you very much. Resume your seat.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Bahamas.
Still to come on our news, another prominent church leader speaking out in support of medical marijuana. Plus, the Deputy Prime Minister responds to the Organization for Responsible Governance's call for swift action on the Fiscal Responsibility Bill. It's coming up when our news returns.